Can you hear it?
No. No.
There is I don't know if the town, I think we're gonna have to hire that to be done by somebody besides us. The buildings we can do, but the trailers could be a different, I believe is a different cat. So,
I would
so,
agree with you on that.
okay,
I think mobile home demolition is fairly simple. However, the size of it, when it does fall apart, things like the roof and the walls, so he can munch on it a little bit, but when it comes to loading, it's such long stuff that you just need a higher reach to get it into a container. I think on knocking these buildings down, the Mini X and the backhoe would be able to push a lot of the stuff. The foundation, if it has one, would be a little more of a workout for the hose that are available. But I think the actual hours that go into it would be nominal, as far as it really is the easy part. The hauling it off, there again, I say this, an example of what I've done over there, having someone that's got either a loader or a large excavator that can get into a dump truck.
right.
Because he'll be one brick at a time with the Mini, and
Maybe two.
maybe he might get two, might break them up, and then the transport side. So
You bet.
the trailer that you see me haul is 120 yards, and I think your guys' dump truck is 8 yards.
10 yard.
10 yards.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I know. Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, it would just, but yes, the hauling is definitely the most time consuming part, but the town
Sure.
could use their resources to at least get to that point and hire it out.
Even knocked down, it's gonna look better.
the
Yeah.
cost on it, the disposal cost on it, depending on how it went. So there again, if Buddy was knocking it down, trying to segregate the bricks instead of sending them to landfill, you'd be probably on this building down here, probably $4,000 to $5,000 disposal fee would be my guess. The trailer disposal fee, I guess it wouldn't matter, but it'd probably be about $1,000 to $1,500 disposal. And then that building over there, $1,500, $2,000 disposal. If nothing was recycled, if you're just going straight weight on it. But knocking it down would probably be about if someone was to bid the job, the actual knockdown would probably be about a third to upwards of a half of what the price.
Right. So, yeah.
So in answering your question, I think it's a good idea to put it out for bid. That's
Okay, thank you. If want to make a motion, give me the authority to do that, or want me to just do it, or what?
I'll make a motion that you
Okay.
put out just the trailer.
I think, do we want to question, that's a good question. The trailer for sure. What do we,
If you were to put this in terms of a bid, I think you would have to phrase something like, so we're accepting bids for demolition and removal of this trailer and for removal of this building and this building. The demolition side would be, well, how good's he gonna do it? Is he gonna pull all of it out? So creating the expectation for the contractor would be important as far as if his track hoe can't pull out a footing, is the contractor obligated to remove the footing?
I think to have to bid something like that, we have to make the assumption that we're going to remove it. And if we can't remove it, that would be something additional.
So then in terms of the bid, if you took an approximate square footage of each building,
Mhm.
it creates an easy reference as far as for the removal of 300 square feet.
I would take some guidance from you and help develop the bid.
Yeah,
And you can work, in fact, you could work with Chris if you would like to
That's
develop
fine.
the bid and do that. That'd be fine. And then if we put it out, we put it out for bid, that allows the local contractors to bid on it and everything.
sure. Yeah, like I said, and I think leaving it standing would probably be better for the bid, to let somebody look at it, say, this is what it is, we're gonna knock it down, versus just having a pile of, I mean, look at
Okay.
what lip rippers is.
Yeah.
You say, how much to haul this pile off? Well, versus how big was it, how many square feet, and but we could work something out to make it easy guidance so you don't get a million questions as far as what about this and that and that.
Or 10 change orders or something.
Mhm. Yes,
Can I get a second on that? We'll have, I think the motion will have, the town will put that out for bid, and Mike will work with Chris to develop the bid.
Second it.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose same. Thanks, Mike, appreciate it. The Shoshoni magazine. Let me touch a little bit. Bob and I attended a meeting today. I asked for meetings. I wanted Helen Wilson, the director of the Wind River Visitors Council, her input, because that's kind of what she does for a living. I don't. And my initial thought, I really liked it, but does that mean it's good? But I think we had a real good conversation between her, us, Jackie Dorothy, who presented this, and the chamber. That's one of my questions I brought up was time. Is this the right time? And I think Jackie thinks she'll have it out by early fall.
Mhm.
or, September, October-ish with that conversation, and then Helen agreed that that would be a good time. I didn't know timing. That's a good time, bad time, but she said that would be good. We can hit Jackson. They talked about where to distribute, and Wind River Visitors Council can also help by Jackie Dorsey's got some pretty good ideas on talked about how Leah DeLay talked about delivering them in Nebraska or South Dakota, I think, stuff. But anyway, we kicked around the pricing. Helen thinks the pricing's reasonable. I didn't also, something else I didn't know. The pricing's reasonable. And in fact, Wind River Visitors Council is going to help participate in this and has offered some expertise. And they're going to buy, I believe, they're looking at buying. Let me put it this way. We got to go through our Wind River Visitors Council board, but they are looking at buying an ad also in there, like a full page that will have like a map of Fremont County, Wind River country. And they're also looking at putting an ad in there, a page that lists nothing but Shoshoni businesses. Shoshoni businesses, got to be a Shoshoni business to be on and highlight that, not just what's, because the Chamber of Commerce has members from Riverton, Thermopolis, maybe even Casper still, I don't know, but I believe 30 some members or 30 plus members are from I believe what Leah said are from Riverton, but just Shoshoni, because Shoshoni, but there'll be people, businesses that are members of the Chamber of Commerce from Thermopolis, Riverton, that will also be involved in this and can buy ads. Because buying ads is what's funding this magazine that we're putting out. But the Wind River Visitors Council, of course, I'm on the board of directors there. Of course, our emphasis is, of course, Fremont County. So, and we think this is Shoshoni magazine, there should be emphasis. So working on that. So they're gonna, I think, we're gonna bring that to our board to approve that. We'll work hard, and it's gonna be in our next budget year. So we're gonna work on that. So I came away with a warm, fuzzy feeling. I like it. I think we need to decide. So there again, this will be in our next fiscal year. So, but we're working on our budget. It's our next fiscal year. If we decide to support this out of city money, we could also ask that the chamber use TAD money to do this, which would be acceptable use for TAD money. Quite frankly, I'm willing to support it either way. Because I think it's I think it can be a positive thing for the town. We also discussed that maybe even they're going like what Du Bois is doing, is getting into smaller trifold or something that people can pick up. Those are relatively inexpensive. So not only have just our magazine, but also put out some of these smaller people can pick up, stick in your pocket. Helen had several ideas, but she's wanting to work with the chamber and with Jackie Dorsey on doing this. Thinks it's Helen feels it's a real good idea, and I think we can talk with your visitors council and helping with this endeavor also. It's they were talking with 16 pages, and we with the Wind River Visitors Council could expand it to 20 pages. So Bob is there too. So would you like to also add?
We were told that the pictures in it for your advertisement belongs to that business.
Correct.
So, which that means, let's say, Fastlane wants to have advertise their business someplace else, they can use that picture in that other advertisement, which is a really good thing for the business, because now they own it, so now they don't have to say, oh, my picture's in this one, but I don't own it, so I can't use it someplace else because it's copyrights. They own it personally.
Usually it's the the
Yeah.
other way around. You're
And I
not,
think
you may
that's-
pay for it, but you don't own it. I
Yeah.
found that out myself in the past.
And that to me is an asset for this. for
It is.
businesses.
So our design of what their proposal is the back page,
Yes,
which is a very, that's a very good spot, because, but that back page, we'd own that, and that design, we come up with that. You know, town owns that, and if we chose to use that elsewhere, we could.
that price was 1920.
1920.
So that includes 1,800 for the back page ads and 120 for the design work.
So that's what I think and I don't know if you want to wait and discuss this more in our budget session, or when we talk more about this for next year, or if we want to move forward with money out of our coffers, or do we want to,
I think we should move forward,
you
in
know,
my opinion. I see nothing but good out of this.
well, I do too.
Yeah, I make the motion that we move forward with it.
I'll second it.
Let me fully understand the motion. Motion would be that we'll move forward with this to address it in our next year's budget. Add this to our budget line.
Mhm.
That's the motion?
Yep.
Okay. Then moved and seconded that we move forward on $1,920. Make sure that when we have our next, we're gonna need that, we'll be adding that to our budget.
It's already, will be available to be expended once approved in the line item. It's already there
Okay.
in the economic.
If we gotta vote on to decide if we're gonna do that. We can't, we gotta have a meeting to discuss voting on that economic one.
When I say it's budgeted, the expenditure is there, but it's not allocated. There's nothing connected to it. So it can't be spent until the council decides to spend it.
Don't come up with half-cent sales.
Correct.
Okay,
So there's an expenditure line item there, but nothing can be spent from that unless approved by council.
So what you're saying, we don't need to adjust our.
Nope.
Okay. So the motion to put that in our next fiscal year budget. We won't be getting billed for it till next year. I mean, till after July. So been moving second. Any other discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed. All in favor. That's a good deal. Job descriptions, you want to talk about that, Chris?
I know we discussed them, well, previously in the workshop as well as the last meeting. And I believe I addressed your,
yes, you have.
so I resent all the
Yeah,
maps.
yeah.
Okay.
You sent those out before the agenda for the meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I try to separate it out because I know I send you
There's
lots of
a lot.
emails. There's a lot there. I know.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions about that? Kind of a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented.
I move we accept the job descriptions for town employees.
Been moved by Councilman Zent that we approve the job descriptions for town employees. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Been seconded by Councilman Weaver to approve the job description. Do we have any further discussion? Anybody got questions? Did I move too fast on that or okay, just. That's not my intention if you haven't had full time to look at it. More eyes the merrier on something like this. Make sure we don't, something isn't missed. Everybody is comfortable with it. I'll call for the question. All in favor of the new job description as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Thanks a lot, Chris, for all that hard work.
Thanks for the modifications to make it look better, so.
Just, you know, some jobs have to have requirements.
I agree.
Oh, yeah. It, said more of us working on it, the better it gets too, sometimes. In this case. Lawnmower bid, we have a bid for a lawnmower.
I'll let Buddy come up and kind of talk about this, just real quick on where it would come from. So we currently have $27,000 in money that we brought from the parks savings for the bathroom, which won't be completed this budget year. We have the remaining allocated. We did a workshop to get the bathroom completed next year. And so that's where this would come out of to pay for it. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. If there's any other questions.
Did you email them one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah, I included that.
Okay. Reason I threw that out there is last year with our town plaza, grass and everything, we had no way of picking the clippings up and a little broom that hooks behind the mower. It's supposed to pick it up and it ain't the greatest. So after talking to Chris and Joel, of course, you know, doing this, we put the bids out. No, the specs were off this certain mower, you know, because I know CWC uses them. Wherever the Mormon church uses out there to do their lawn,
That's
uses these
precision.
walkers, right?
Yep.
City of Riverton, they're a commercial grade mower. They actually didn't put in a bid at the time because he didn't read it in the paper. So I caught up with him because we never got a bid. It's like, hey, we threw it out there. So finally got one. But like I say, it's got a 52-inch mower deck. That was a little more than the one, I think one had like a 48 or something like that, the one it comes with. But I asked him if there was a 52-inch, and he said, yeah, he had one that's in stock right now. So that's pretty much, I mean, if you guys got the
So
things that printed
I
out.
have two bids, one for 18,125, and the other one for precision for 18,301. Who's the first one for 1825 for 125?
I believe this position is the actual bid, and the other one was just the flyer that they got. from the
Okay.
company. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's, sorry for the confusion.
So
Yeah, it's not two separate
I'm
ones.
saying, are these two separate bids? Because I didn't see the name on the other one with a picture on it.
See, and it was through precision, municipalities, government entities
Okay.
get a discount.
Okay.
So it knocked it down.
Okay, yeah, 100.
About 10% looks like we got.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, it was.
That was my question.
10%.
I thought there was two different companies, but I didn't see
No,
the second
And
name.
and yes, it was Precision's bid.
Doesn't seem to come with a cup holder.
Or air conditioner.
Well, we better go with the bigger one.
Or
No,
death
but
fluid.
there's a lot of implements that you can hook to it too, which I mean, I don't really see, but
A trailer?
future wise, I'm sure there was a bunch of them, snow blades that you put on the front. Little sweepers, sprayers, there's all sorts of attachments.
So now we can
It's
have
nothing
two
like-
vehicles to plow the road or sidewalks.
Yeah. At this point, I don't see the sense, but future, you never know. But my main reason for it now is something that will collect the grass. So I have to go out there with trying to broom it up all the time, Another one was the senior housing. I mean,
How do your tires do with the thorns around town?
horrible. I put the slime, and it helps for a while.
So these are just your
Yes,
typical.
regular. No, we're talking, But yeah, we usually pump them full of slime. So,
And this one actually was in stock, so right
Yes.
now, one model, I think you said.
Because I know when I first checked in on him, he said would be a while out if we didn't hurry up and get on it. But of course, we had to advertise and everything. And when I visited with him 2 weeks ago or so, he had one on the floor. It had the 48-inch deck, but he said in the back, he had the 52 for it. He said, but he says, they're hard to come by right now. He says, if it's here after you guys go through all your stuff, it's here to take. But if it's gone, he says, it might take a while. So,
We really needed one last year. and we just
yeah. we
Wasn't in our
did.
budget.
We just dealt with what we had. So,
And he's able to work on it too there, Mike.
yes.
Yes.
Yep, he's a walker dealer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's fancy.
Don't have a cup holder.
Buy a lot of goats.
You can
to
get a
help
cab over for it, so.
you out. Rollover protection.
No.
Kind of a motion to move forward and have Bud purchase that piece of equipment.
I move the town purchase model T27i lawnmower from Precision Outdoor Power Equipment.
What was the total price on that?
$18,301.50. Is that correct?
The motion to purchase the lawnmower equipment for $18,301 and 50 cents. Have a second on that motion, been moved by Councilman Fett. Second by Councilwoman Hartke. Have we purchased the equipment for Parks and Recreation? Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Another tool. Another tool. Can I have a police report?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. So I guess I'll start with, we did find I won't say replacement, a new officer that will replace Matt's position as far as the schedule goes, Monday through Thursday. Well, he currently works for the Highway Patrol, so he will be coming over here on the 23rd of May. And he's been a police officer for, I believe, 21 years total, combined with Highway Patrol, city and county. So he's done multiple different facets of law enforcement in Wyoming, small towns as included. So, and he does work in the area, so I'm sure a lot of people will have seen him or know him, or maybe have been stopped by him. I don't know.
Better tell us, pick the public his name.
I was getting there. So it's Tony Badera. It's currently finishing out his time with Highway Patrol and his obligation there before he starts here. And also, we will have another vacancy. Officer O'Neill will be going to work for Wyoming State Parks. And that will be effective on the 14th of this month. So we gain one, we lose one, gain one, lose one. But we do have some part-time that will facilitate the evening shifts until we do find replacement. Currently, we have no additional applications. So I'll do some more recruiting and see what we can find to get a full-time replacement. But for now, we do have two officers that are reservists with us currently, and they will be able to fill some of those shifts. The ones not, then I'll fill the gap and where there's gaps that remain, if there is any. And also our canine officer, Sergeant now, Leaf Green, also canine. His canine was certified this week. So we now have an active duty canine, and I intend to use it to its fullest potential in town,
You gonna walk the dog?
something like that.
It's a great plan.
Get one of those leashes that you push and it comes back to you.
Well, it just goes and wherever it sits, that's where we go.
Uh-huh.
So that I do intend to fully utilize that capability for the town, as well as people that come through in town, and bring stuff to town. That's coming.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we try to discourage those type of activities not to be here in Shoshone.
That's great.
And then as far as my monthly report. So we had 34 active calls aside from everything else. We did have 5 more warrant arrests last month. Thankfully, no DUIs, which is a good thing, but we did have 5 writer reports. We also had 3 cases of controlled substance that were dealt with, and starting to have a decrease in juvenile problems for the 2nd month in a row. So that's a good thing. At least what was reported versus what's actually going on. So, you know, please do report, use the text if you have to. We've had actually that text my gov. I've been getting a couple of those for suspicious activities and things that we've got to look at in town that otherwise may not have been available or known about. Just suspicious vehicles driving through people's houses, or not through, past people's houses. And it's been really effective with the traffic complaints as far as speed going down specific roads. And they're really articulate with the time. So we're getting a little bit better precision on where we need to be at certain times on some of the streets, especially going to the high school, Pine, Maple. And so we're trying to target those with that information that we're getting from that text app. So that has been beneficial so far. I'm not sure how many buddies he's had any use with that. I know it's not really related to police, but when he gives his report, I'm sure he can mention that if he has. We did have 141 citations that were issued. I just wanted to make a note that the average speed per stop was 48 miles an hour and a 30. So despite what you hear, 3 miles an hour doesn't cause a traffic stop. Unless you're Mayor Highsmith. Make it stop. So it still continues to be a problem, and we are dealing with it. And if you're doing 48 and a 30, you're probably gonna get a citation. I don't know what else to say. We have signs everywhere. It's well known, and yet it still happens. Got any questions or concerns? Things we can do better?
You
I'm all
done
done.
with your report?
I'm done.
Are we ready for Public Works?
Oh, before Bud starts, one last thing. We did get the appeal for the sales or property tax filed. Trying to have that documentation, so if you want to take a look at that, I can, or I don't know if Marshall wants to speak on that at all, but it was submitted, and we will go in front of the was it the equalization? I don't know if it's the Department of Equalization or Council of Equalization, whichever, to plead our case. And I will let Marshall say anything on that. Sorry, bud.
Oh, you're all right.
Yeah, just recap what Chris said real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, bud.
You're okay.
We got the confirmation today by email that they got it, and we're going to get scheduled to go before the Board of Equalization. We just don't have a date for that yet. So just wanted to update everybody and let you know that we are moving forward with appealing that, and we filed timely. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Bud?
Of course, we had our town cleanup. I'm guessing it went good. I've heard a few complaints that they didn't know what was happening, but we got quite a pile of stuff over there, so there were people that was aware of it. So, and of course, we went to water conference. There's some new rules that are coming down with the lead copper rule as it sets right now. I have to take yearly, I have to take 10 samples, and they're for houses that was built sometime in the 80s. I don't remember exactly, but it was in the 80s for lead is their big concern. Now EPA is changing it to where we have to know what kind of services every tap that we have in the house, you know, which a lot was brought up. Well, what if there's people that won't let you into their house, you know, because they want to be stubborn or whatever? We can't, you know, force ourselves to go in. We got to step aside and actually test it for lead, you know, and there may just be a copper line in there, but the person just won't let you in there to see it. And that's supposed to come down, I think 2025 is actually going to effect. But with some of them, if you ain't able to identify what's coming up in the house, you have to pothole it outside of the house to expose it, to identify what it is. I know there was a lot of companies down there. I think it was 120 Water. They're an engineering firm that you can hire that can come in and do this. I got looking back through records, most of it was in 93 when they really did water meters. Somebody was smart enough, Don Schuba, and he actually marked what was being connected inside the house for a meter, if it was galvanized. Of course, we have no lead or copper, so a lot of that's been taken care of, that we won't have to hire an engineering firm to come through and do all this. I mean, that's how I feel. There might be some of them we might have to pothole, you know, but you can get money through, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, through this other outfit that pays our wages as a maintenance crew to do it for this big lead copper. So just so everybody's aware, that's coming down the tubes with that. I brought one of these meter pit setups, kind of explain a little better than what I did when I was talking about it before, for these radio reads. And we had a big mix up with the computer. When we fall off in the fall to go to a base rate without reading meters through the winter, you know, of course, it's still calculating in that meter. Then when we pick it up in the spring, the computer this last time picked it up when it fell off in the fall. So it calculated all the way through. So a lot of people got an outrageous water bill. So me and Chris were talking about, again, the radio reads. I know before I brought up about these rubbers on these, I call this part the cradle. These go in the pits that I was talking about. The rubbers that are hard to find are pretty much obsolete. I talked to other cities, towns at water conference, and they had no clue what I was talking about, you know. And and someone said, well, it's obsolete, so we're still gonna have an issue with these going to a radio read, because these set 6 foot down in the ground, but they're at the bottom of the pit. The pit comes up. This is a valve plus a cam system. You can turn that with a water key down in that valve,
Right.
which releases the compression off these. These rubbers are the ones that get hard after a while. They get a memory. If I get one leaking, the meter's up here with the register. If I get one leaking, I cam it off. I pull that up. And to get that set back down in there sometime with them with memory, you can't get them sealed. So the problem with the radio reads is the register on top. If the meter set in here, there's a register and it's got a wire that goes up to the top of the lid. What we read them off of, we have to change that register for a radio read. So to be able to do that with all these pits, I gotta cam that off, pull that up, take the register off, put the radio read register on it, try to get it sealed up. If I had new rubbers, it'd be okay. Nowhere to find that. So that might be an issue. All these pits may have to be dug up because, like I say, in '93, they came up with these. They got newer style. That's I think Bob's got a couple at his new house in his garage. They're on a coil system. They go down a ways, but they don't permanently. It's 6 foot. You can pull them up. And it's like a sling. Comes to the top of the ground, you work them, you know. But most of the ones that are in town are these. So it's gonna be an expensive replacing them.
Buddy and I were talking about that, and we came up with about at least $60,000 to $70,000 to get that accomplished. There's no funding from WWDC for that.
Right.
That's all on us. Now, there might be other avenues that we could try and find some partial funding or grants, but
And that's
most
what
likely
they said at water conferences. They would not for meters, you know, but there was other ones if we would search for that would probably help us, you know.
most likely it's probably gonna be half of that cost is gonna probably fall on us regardless of what we find, but we'll hopefully have something lined up for next couple months to figure out what funding options are available for that.
Right, we've been,
Can we use that ARPA money?
We could.
It's 17,000 if I remember right.
Yeah, so we put the budget together, we have 30-something
Okay.
thousand dollars. So that could be part of it. We do have funding in our, for one, depreciation. Now we have a depreciation fund. So we do, the water does have its own money available as well. So we, but I'd rather try and find out before we go down that route, spend our money. I'd rather see if there's whatever we can
Grants
get.
or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I
agree
just,
with
I mean, it needs to be done, but I think give us a little time, we could probably come up with some additional monies to offset that cost before we just go it alone. But
I know we were talking budget wise, but geez, with everything we're finding issues with is. Because like I say, these sets, 6 foot in the ground with a pit above it, you're gonna have to dig the whole thing out. Place it with a newer style, you know.
So it's $1,000 a pit,
2,000, I think we figured.
2,000?
Have somebody dig it up, their time digging it up,
Okay,
and them, you know, depending on what style you go to too. These are McDonald's, and I've searched and searched, I've talked to people.
Well, how many do we, excuse me, but how many do we have?
Not quite 200 pits in town, the rest are inside installations, what I call them, you know. And them ones will be easy for radio reads, it's these pits, you know, and that was the other thing. Clear back when Shoebach was here and I worked under Shoebach, that's the reason we went to base rate through the winter is because, you know, well, last couple of winters it hadn't really snowed, but when you get a couple foot of snow on top of a pit and you're out there searching for it, you can be all day long looking for it, you know. And but the reason they had to go to some of these pits is because between our curb stop, the town's curb stop, and the house, if there's a riser, frost-free hydrant, you can't put the meter inside because whatever comes through that hydrant ain't gonna be metered. So we had to throw pits out there to be able to meter that water before it comes to the house. So like I say, there's not quite 200 pits out there in the town. So that's gonna be a big issue.
Just doing the math, 2,000 a pit, that's 200 fits, $400,000.
You know,
100 fits would be 200,000.
actually, I mean, in the long run, pits were better because if there was a leak between the meter on town property and the
Right.
house, the homeowner paid for it. But if it was in the house and there was a leak between property line and the house, it was never metered.
Right.
So actually, the pits were better. It was better for the house to have it in the house. If they had a leak out in their yard and their grass was getting really green, they wouldn't be in charge for the water. So, but but this is the issue with this. I thought I'd bring one of these in to kind of explain what I was trying to tell you about. The rubber's getting a memory on that compression. Since '93, they've been in the ground. So,
Yep.
So that's on that. Of course, I think I touched on Jamie passing his water certification. He went to conference. He's lacking 4 hours to actually get the certification. I'm trying to set up with Ernie at a Thermont to go over and tour the water plant over there, because he can actually get 4 hours off that. So he can get his full-fledged certification. He, of course, took his wastewater test, failed it, of course. And I see why he failed it, because he signed up for a plant operator. And that's what
We don't even have.
Ours is lagoons. So he was going for lagoons and I've got the plant, but
Would be funny if you passed.
there's a
it.
lot more mechanics to a plant that he had no idea about. And
They never
we
studied
discovered
it or
that,
nothing.
you know,
Never worked
I
on it.
pulled it
didn't
up and I
study.
thought, you took a plant operator test. No, I didn't. I said, yeah, you did. It said you did. And we pulled it up, yes. So he's working on doing that again. Hopefully get that taken care of. Well, 5, of course, having problems with the VFD. It'll start up and then it shuts off. We did some tests on it and it says there's a ground fault, something with the wiring. I've still got to get Joey out there to check it for sure. Then probably have to pull Bob with Montana Controls out of Billings, Montana, back down here to see if it's the VFD or if it really is a ground fault, you know, depending on what it is, really. So if it's ground fault, I can get Joey to fix it, but the VFD is Bob's thing, so. That's all I have.
I haven't seen you out on your grader.
Oh, I
Is
know.
it broke? I couldn't.
You're okay, because I've had a few.
That was good.
No, well, of course, we was off the water conference. Trying to turn sprinklers on and had a few other things that, not to bash anybody around, but they installed things totally wrong when you go to turn the water on, and that's wheel valve. You make a makeshift key to reach 6 foot down, turn that wheel valve and it breaks, you know, things like that. So we've been doing a few water taps. Yeah. We've been busy, but yes. It would have been nice to cut that grader out,
Yeah.
you know, especially after all that rain, and now it's gotten really bad.
It's,
We've got a
What if
big
you did?
blade, we can actually get out there now and I can scrape it, but then the wind comes up and people howl because it gets pretty dusty, you know. So that might be
He's just quit.
after my mower get a water truck. So, but yeah, but our other blade, I could get out there and blade it now. It's not like the low motor, you definitely had to have the moisture. You got this big one and it'll push it, but it does get dusty.
Yeah.
So.
moisture's 3 feet down. At least in my place, when I dug up.
See small.
Yeah.
Definitely needs it, so. We should consider ourselves lucky. A lot of people down around Cheyenne, Laramie, that pull out of some of them reservoirs that are wondering how they're gonna get their water eventually, because they're so low, you know, so. But yeah. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, I just had ask that question.
Anybody got anything else for Bud? Appreciate the good report. Thanks.
All right,
Bud.
thank you. Thanks for.
Thanks for the
approving them
visual.
over. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Bo, you got something you'd like to bring up?
One thing I got is, I was doing some work over there at the new travel center. And it's going right all along. We did the footings out there. And they've already started on the walls. Walls, I think, are gonna get poured next week. From what I'm hearing, they're trying to get the store open, hopefully everything goes right by October. And then continue on this side for the work. That's what the goal is. We'll see how it goes, but went right on along. Met the general contractor, super nice guy, easy to work with. And, a lot of people watching, with the pump out there and everything else and watching the progress. So I was real happy with how that's going. That's really about it for me.
Tammy,
No, I don't got anything.
Mike?
I guess the progress of the motel. What's left over there is going to be scooped up with a loader. At that point, it should be completed. This project over here, once I think there's probably one more, maybe a load and a half of the bulk that's there. The contractor is going to come back and remove the concrete slabs that are left behind, and then do the same thing, run a root grapple through that to clean up the fines. And then that project should be completed as well,
Next week?
tentatively. So Gino had talked about coming up this Saturday, depending on rain, whether or not it rains. Every time it rains, it takes the landfill 3 days or better to dry out. It's a nightmare, but anyway.
Okay.
Fairly quickly, though. He doesn't have much more time, as far as
Right.
work time on it.
Bob?
I have nothing.
Appreciate your, that was a good meeting we had, though.
It was.
That was a good meeting. I've got a couple things. Our census report that we sent out and citizens helped us with it. We came up with 576. Is that correct, Chris?
Correct.
576 current residents of the town of Shoshoni. That's a interesting number. So 576, and that's plus or minus, not pretty close, wouldn't you say?
Well, counting people that are maybe here and gonna be gone, didn't count anyone staying at the Crossroads RV park. So plus or minus would be, someone that was here for 3 months, but they're planning on leaving. But there was some additional development out there that wasn't counted that's coming in, and I know people are gonna be there, but I didn't count them. So there's a little bit of a variance possibly between, if you counted 2 months from now, it might be 570, it might be 585. There's a little bit of variance there in a couple of months, but right now, 576. Not counting the Crossroads RV park.
So that was, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna be going down, and maybe Chris, depends on schedule, both of us may be going down to Cheyenne for our level 2, talk with the state about our level 2 water study. And that, if we get that granted, that's 100% paid by the state. So, and it'll be identifying issues that were brought up in our level 1 that board associates had planned. So hopefully that'll be a good thing if we move forward on that. I think we definitely have a need need for that. Start the process. If we're so approved, then we'd be going through a process of choosing an engineer and moving forward on that. That would allow us to move things onto a level 3, and that's, replace, repair. There's something that we are going to be able, we're looking at trying to put together there's some of the water study that was presented by Gore that the state said we could move to a level 3. So we're looking at that presently. Well, but anyway, it's water projects.
I'll have that prepared by August. Then we can go to level 3. And we can do level 2 and level 3 concurrently. So it's not do one and then have to wait. We can do them both at the same time. But the ones that we can go to level 3, I'll have that ready to go by August.
What else we need to touch base on? We'll have our time trials again this weekend out at the mushroom farm. Anything else?
We've got some real estate on the next meeting coming up. So
Yeah, we have some real estate. Like, we got some interest in real estate, so. We had a meeting the other morning that was, we only got an hour's sleep.
yeah, that was the WWDC.
Yeah, and that talking with rural development and
Oh,
they're,
that one.
right?
Sorry. I did have an hour's sleep that day.
Yeah, he played police officer all night and of course work all day. But that was a pretty good, they're looking at smaller communities and see how they can help with all aspect of housing.
Well, the cool thing about that though is they reached out to us. So we didn't reach out to them. The USDA Rural Development contacted us and set that up, and looking at what our current demographics are, what we believe our needs are. And so their team is going to come back with some potential things for us to look at that they can help us in different facets and areas in town. So that was kind of cool today.
And Bud was involved with that meeting also. Bud, Chris and I, we all had our opportunity to talk about what do we see as our, what's stopping us, what do we need, infrastructure. We need sewer and water for housing, just talking like that and how to reach those goals. So, but that was a good meeting. I can't think of anything else that's real important, like I said.
Hey, Chris, did you guys get to the old jailhouse and get it boarded up?
There's the one window that we got to get a board on.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that with water conference and then,
Oh, yeah, no, I was just curious. I haven't drove by to look. That's why I was asking.
yeah, Buddy and I just kind of made eye contact like, oops, is your hammer broke?
And then, also I just want to touch base with there again on our magazine. So we'll definitely have some input, what that should look like, what we want that to look like. I think we ought to, there again, mention local businesses.
Mhm.
Shoshoni, I think a local business, I think we should there again mention that. We might even talk about opportunities to purchase land and move to Shoshoni.
Mhm.
That's just food for thought.
I think we should we're trying to squeeze in there about the ice fishing derby too.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lake, will be a lake. There's gonna be, Wanda may be able to help me out on this, but there's gonna be an article about the lake and ice fishing and something, correct?
Yes, the main feature is going to be Boise State Park, and we're asking to run all 4 seasons. So
Oh, great.
and all of that.
Yeah, the chambers went together between them and Jackie's done a pretty good job to try to include a lot of activities, that'd be the correct activities in Shoshoni and surrounding area. I think that this magazine will be pretty inclusive. That description,
I'm not sure how you met pages now. But like the haunted house and those usual events will be listed in there somehow, but that's not my
Yeah.
forte either. So Jackie has that. She kind of knows what we're hoping to get in there.
Hot Summer's Night, something like that, or 8 Mile Racing. A rifle range should be in there somewhere. But if it isn't in the body, maybe some of those things are on the back page. You know, but I think we ought to
Well, we could,
keep that in mind, you know what I mean?
it could even be on the next one, depending on how it all works out, you know.
Yeah. And then, you know, they may not make one for 2 years, they may won't make one, depends on how fast they, if I understood that correctly.
Right, we're not sure. Jackie's kind of recommending one every 2 years, but depending on how the funding comes through from the TAD funding,
Mhm.
the chamber might be able to go ahead with publication part of postage part, all the extras that aren't taken care of under the initial selling of ads, then that comes back on the chamber. So that's, they're thinking somewhere around $2,000 every year. So that's what that costs, and we don't get $2,000. It's kind of like luckily dropped this last year. Then we'll have to look at saving money somewhere else
Mhm.
and try to get that $2,000.
Yeah. I apologize for everyone that I didn't have one to come up. If anybody in the audience can't hear, I just said hello, Wanda, and I didn't introduce you. That's my fault. That was Wanda Wise, Board of Directors of the Chamber of Commerce of Shoshoni speaking. Appreciate your input. Anybody have anything else? None being, I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Demick, seconded by Councilwoman Hartke, that we adjourn this meeting of Shoshone Town Council. All in favor, any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye, both same. Motion passed 8-12.